Okay, so just a quick introduction on BlueTree. So why do we call ourselves BlueTree, right? So first thing, the color blue. Okay, so blue represents also wisdom and clarity. Okay, so and why do we call it tree? So tree, like, it's always growing upwards. Okay, we hope that our students can achieve greater heights, just like a tree, and not only greater heights, but also have a firm foundation, like the foundation in the roots that anchor firmly there. Okay, so this is what we hope to achieve for our students. Okay, so Sari, next please. Yeah, so at BlueTree Education, our main philosophy is to educate the world. So not just educate our students, of course. So educate every other stakeholders. Okay, our parents, our teachers, even our staff at BlueTree Education. Okay, so mainly we hope to help our students to become critical thinkers, and we want them to be a very curious person whereby they are always learning things, not just like at the end of their education, but always think about why do things happen and what caused all this. Okay, so we hope that we can help them in order to excel and achieve their fullest potential. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so in BlueTree, we actually have many years of experience in the primary school syllabus. Okay, so as most parents might have known, PSLE just ended like today. Okay, and we did receive many positive testimonials about our teachers. So the students are very thankful for our teachers. And the students have also noted that our curriculum is very helpful and strong. It really helped them to prepare certain questions that actually came out for PSLE today. Yeah, so definitely that is not just for the science department and also math side as well. Okay, and to let all the parents and students out there know, so BlueTree do have free webinars as well as our YouTube channel. Okay, so we have YouTube channel whereby there are science videos and math videos that will help students on their questions and also help parents to prepare their students, like how prepare their kids, like how they can better teach their child. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide, which we will be introducing ourselves. Okay, so finally we'll be introducing ourselves. Okay, so I'm teacher Wendy. So I have been teaching for many years, especially for math and science. So I have a keen interest in math and science. I love to help my students in math and science. Okay, why am I in the education industry is mainly because I do hope to inspire students to achieve their full potential. Okay, and I hope that I will be part of their journey as they move on in their academic journey as well. Okay, I hope to inspire them so that they themselves can be great learners. Okay, then I'll move on to teacher Sari.
Okay, so for me, I'm teacher Sari. I'm actually having 15 to 16 years of working experience, all right? I teach both primary science and secondary science. So for my case, it's because I love science a lot, like really a lot. I love science experiments, and BlueTree is famous for science experiments. So usually I will have fun with children, doing science experiment, exploring what kind of different ideas and concepts behind science experiments. So the main thing here is I would say forte would be making sure that your child or the students is able to understand the question and able to pinpoint what are the keywords to answer these questions, because for science they want very precise science concepts. Without the keywords, you do not have the marks. So yeah. Then for primary science, yeah. So this is basically an overview of the lower block and upper block science. And because right now we are doing P5 science, right? So P5 science is actually very important. Wendy, will you mind explaining to them why P5 science is important?
Okay, so for P5 science, you realize that it's heavily focused on the systems. Okay, so if you look at the systems for plant transport, human and cell electrical systems, it's a very big part. I would say is basically the part of P5 science. Okay, and it is also frequently tested in the PSLE syllabus as well. Okay, and for P5 students, okay, you all know what is coming up next. Next year is like the PSLE year, which is also next year is going to decide. I mean, some of you might be opting for your DSA. So if you're opting for your DSA, so some schools do take into considerations of your results in your P5 end of year. Okay, so it's very important to start building the foundation well in P5 and do your best in the P5 end of year if you're looking for DSA. Even if you're not looking for DSA, P5 topics are very important for the PSLE next year as well. So it is still a very essential skill that you need to have to be able to tackle this kind of questions.
Exactly,
So,
Wendy. Exactly. And always take note, everyone, okay, there's no last minute revision. For PSLE, 80% of the topics are all P5 topics. So you have to start preparing right now for PSLE. It may seem like it's a long time, but trust me, time flies past very fast, right? Yep. So let's go. So are you ready, everyone? Are you ready to start? Okay, let's start, right? That's awesome. Okay, so we have a lot of students asking us, Teacher Sari, Teacher Wendy, got strategy for answering or obviously, we are BlueTree, we have our own strategy, okay? Yes, definitely for sure, okay? And it's specifically from BlueTree to help you attain as much marks from a question as possible, okay? So let's see. So strategy 1, identify key topic and key concept. So usually how we teach our students, right, is that when we read a question, we need to identify what is the question is asking about. Are they talking about electrical systems? Are they talking about human reproduction system? Are they talking about plant transport system? So we help them to identify by highlighting a few keywords, usually from the very first sentence or the second sentence onwards with keywords, annotation, right? Which we teach them how to annotate and analyze, then they're able to identify the key concepts. So we usually ask them to highlight key question term, which is what we call it keywords. All right. Next is highlight key information. So sometimes the question may be pretty tricky. So, usually students will read, the question will say, give me the incorrect answer, but they write the correct answer. So we usually will ask them, okay, so you need to highlight the incorrect answer and maybe terms like help. How does, for example, a question like, how does probably the fur winter coat help you to keep warm? So usually the words like help is a certain keywords, right? So you need to write comparison words in these answers. So these are typically the usual type of key information we need to know, all right? And using key answering technique. What kind of key answering technique? We'll tell you later. We know it as the ABC technique. Definitely to make you score full marks for sure, right? And yep, ABC answering technique for application OEQ. So I know students out there, you hate OEQ. But trust me, after applying the ABC concept, right, or the ABC answering technique, right, you definitely love it a lot because you always get full marks. Right? So let's see. Let's start. What is ABC technique? Teacher, what is ABC technique? My school never use ABC technique. What is that? Now, let's go into it. A, basically it's answer with a choice, all right? So for example, if a question they ask you, do you think setup A or B is correct? So you have to choose one. You have to say setup A or setup B. That is answering with a choice. B basically is back with evidence or information. All right. So what do you mean by back with evidence and information? Okay, you see, you're a student, I'm a teacher. The only way to communicate to me that you know how to answer the question is just the paper itself, right? I cannot read your mind, right? So you need to tell me what you can see from the question in order to answer the question. So you need to tell me, okay, I have seen red dye being absorbed into a plant. So you just write with that. What you can see from the question, you just tell me, write it down, back with evidence and or information. C, which is confirm concept. So, like I say, the only way to communicate with teachers is basically your paper. So, for this confirm concept, you need to tell your teacher, okay, what is the science concept that I know that support what I can see, the back with evidence and information. All right, what's the science concept with? Oh, there's roots to absorb the red dye. Yeah, you need to explain that, all right? So with these three techniques, or rather these three ABC technique, right? You are definitely able to answer any OEQ question. Take note, sometimes certain questions, they do not need A because they do not need you to answer with your choice. They only need you to explain or explain with science concept. So it may be B and C only, or sometimes it may be a very direct A and C. That's it. All right. Next. To make it simpler, we have created a scenario POV case for everyone, okay? So let's see, hold on. Scenario. This is our famous teacher Joe, yeah? Teacher Chloe, what would you like to eat? Quick, Wendy, help me.
I want to eat Shake Shack burger.
Shake Shack burger, eh? Why? What is so nice?
You look at the numbers online. Shake Shack burger has the highest number of votes compared to other burgers.
So how does it apply ABC technique? So you all keep saying, right, how does it apply to real life? Let me show you, or let us show you how it applies. Yeah. A. What burger did teacher Chloe choose? Using A, answer with a choice, Shake Shack burger. B. Explain your answer. Why? As Shake Shack burger has the highest vote recorded online as compared to the rest of the burger. You see, what I can see from the question, it says here, highest number of votes. Then you just tell the teacher, what I know from the question, you just write only. Usually until here, right, B, right, if you tell the teacher what you can see, right, usually you will get a half mark or 1 mark already. You just tell the teacher what you can see, you get the mark already. And then, lastly, C. Hence, Shake Shack provide the best quality and delicious burger in Singapore. I know some students don't agree, maybe one McDonald's, I don't know. But this is the science concept that the science concept that support your back with evidence. Okay? So this is how easy it is with ABC. Right? Let's continue. Using ABC technique life cycle in plants. Yes, regarding their certain schools, they use the CER method, but we highly advise using the ABC method because that's the easiest way to answer the question. Very easy. Just by telling the teacher what you can see, you already get half and or 1 mark already. If it's a 1 mark question, it's a half mark. If it's a 2-mark question, it will be a 1 mark already. Very easy. Oh, I'm so sorry. I will try to lower my pitch. Yes, I'm a very enthusiastic teacher. Yes, I'm so sorry. Sorry. Thank you so much for Lydia. I will continue improve. Okay, let's continue. Okay, let's see this question. Hold on. 3 similar seeds, A, B, and C, were placed each in petri dishes and exposed to different conditions as shown below. Setup A, you see as seed A, moist. And where is it placed? In the freezer. B, seed B, moist near an open window. C, seed C, moist in a closed cabinet. So obviously, remember, we need to highlight, annotate, and analyze. We always have this song. Annotate, analyze, annotate, analyze, annotate, analyze. So we need to annotate, all right? Okay, hold on. So the keywords here is different conditions. CA, you can see, is in the freezer. So the key concept, what are the key concepts we are looking here? The conditions for germination, which is known as WOW. WOW, which is warmth, water, oxygen, all right? So, yep, so here. So, seed A has water, does not have oxygen, does not have warmth because it's in the freezer. Seed B and C has water, oxygen, and warmth. So, answer your choice. It is setup B and C, all right? But with evidence, what you can see, you tell the teacher. As the seeds in setup B and C have warmth, water, warmth, and oxygen. Just tell the teacher what you can see from the question. Confirm concept. Basically, which are the conditions needed for germination? Okay? Which is water, warmth, and oxygen. All right, so far everything is fine? Fantastic. Good. Okay, give me a moment. The next question. Ganesh observes 3 different types of flowering plants. So this is probably a flowering type of question. After several days of investigation and observation, he found out that only one type is pollinated by wind. So you should know by here, pollinated by wind is talking about reproduction in plants. Okay, so which flower is pollinated by wind? Explain your choice. Okay, oops, sorry, give me a moment. Oops, wait, so sorry, give me a moment. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. So, 3 different types of flowering plant. One type is pollinated by water. Which flower is pollinated by wind? So you need to have an A first. All right, Cynthia, you got a good try. You need to have an A first, remember. All right, explain your choice. So the key concept here is pollination. Okay, so concept check. So what we know, we have wind pollination and insect pollination. Wind pollination flower has feathery stigma, like this kind. Anther hanging loosely outside. Filament is long and loose. It has to be loosely hanging outside so that when the wind carries the pollen, all right, it will capture the pollen, all right. For insect pollinated flower, anther and filament are inside the petal, all right. Stigma is inside the flower and sticky. So usually they have nectars, okay. Answer with a choice. Hold on. Flower Z. Why? Because we can see this. It's hanging outside, right? So you tell the teacher what you can see. As flower Z has hanging anthers outside the flower, or you can say feathery stigma. Usually we prefer the hanging anthers, like I explained earlier. Okay, next. So Confirm concept. Hence, flower Z is pollinated by wind. So you need to have a science concept to support what you can see again. So flower Z is pollinated by wind as it is easier for the wind to catch the pollen. Remember just now I explained that? That's a science concept. Grains from anthers or transfer pollen grains to the stigma. Is everyone okay? Fine for now? Should be great, right? Everyone? Okay. Next, I'll go next for Cynthia. Wendy, teacher Wendy will look for you, okay? For your C, okay? So, do we use and apply ABC method for all open-ended questions? So, like they say, nope. For example, using ABC technique for unit of life. So unit of life, we know about cells. Cells are usually very direct kind of questions. They're asking you for the function of cell wall, chloroplast, so on and so forth. So let's take a look at it. Shirlene discovered cell A in a sample of pond water shown below. Under the microscope, she noticed that cell A moves about using its tail-like structure like a flagellum. Okay? So this is the usual kind of questions for unit of life. So based on the diagram, Shirlene thinks that cells A is more likely to be a plant cell than animal cell. Explain why. Okay, explain why. Sorry. So this is the keyword, more likely. So is it true or not? The key concept is basically the characteristics identifying of a plant cell and animal cell. So usually animal cell, what do you know? Cell wall, right? Chloroplast. These are the two main factors for plant cell. So no need to use A because they didn't ask you to choose. Remember, in the beginning of the webinar, if you missed out the beginning of webinar, we described or rather we explain how to use the ABC concept, right? So if they didn't ask you to choose, you do not need to apply the A, all right? So straight away, we enter into back with evidence, referring back to the information. What you can see from the question, just tell the teacher. Cell A has chloroplast and cell wall. So you can see this, chloroplast and cell wall. Now, the confirmed concept. What is the confirmed concept to support what you can see? Again, hence, cell A is a plant cell as only plant cells have chloroplast and cell wall, while animal cells do not. So you need to explain to the teacher. So what if you have chloroplast? So what if you have cell wall? What's the science concept to explain what you can see? All right, is there any questions so far? All good? Great, great. All right, so for the next questions, I'll pass it to teacher Wendy.
Hello. Okay, hopefully you can hear me clearer now. Okay, if you have any issues with my sound, please voice it out also. I'll try to change it as well. Okay, so Sari, you can click next. So we will be looking at a question on plant transport system. Okay, so let's read the question together. So Emily set up an experiment. So Sari can show the picture. So we set up an experiment by removing the outer ring of the tube in the plant. She observed that the plant has swelling on the stem above A as observed. Okay, so the plant is still growing well. So now we need to explain why the stem above A of the plant swell. Okay, so now let's take a look at some concepts. So Sari, next. Okay, key concept in plant transport system is the food carrying and the water carrying tubes. Okay, and then we need to remember food carrying tube and water carrying tube. Which one is inside? Which one is outside? All right. So next, how do we remember this? There's this short form. There's not Y. It's called Y4. It's also not Y5. It's Y4. Y4, it represents water in, food out. So water is the inside one and the food is the outside one. So if I'm only removing the outer layer, so it should be removing only the food carrying tube. Okay, so Sari, can you please press next? Okay, So we will need to back with some evidence. In this question, we do not need to use A of the ABC. Why? It's because the question really tell you that the part above A swell, that is actually the A already. So you only need to back with evidence and confirm concept. Back with evidence is what the question tells you. The outer ring is being removed. Then we confirm with the concept. Okay, so confirm concept is you need to tell me that the food made by the leaf at the top of the plant is unable to be transported down to the roots. This what is super, super, super important is you need to tell us that excess food is being stored or accumulated at the card stem above A. So there are a few students, even up to P6, they will miss out this excess food. Okay, it is not the food that is made by the leaf, but it is the excess that will be accumulated there. Okay, so now let's take a look at some common SA2 questions for P5. Okay, so let's go on next. Okay, next, it should be water and its 3 stages. Okay, so now let's read the question. Very long question. Science questions very long. Okay, so we need to break down. So first part A, they tell you to state a difference between evaporation and boiling. Okay, let's take a look at some of the concept. Can you press next, Sari? Okay, so remember to analyze and annotate. Okay, let's read the part B of the question also. Okay, so hold on now, let's read the part B. So part B, Fatima fried some bananas. So goreng pisang, if you like it, I also like it. Okay, and they put 2 pieces, each in box R and box S. Okay, so he observed that the bananas in R became slightly wet, but not in S. So we need to explain why R became wet. Okay, now let's take a look at the first part A of the question first. So we need to understand the difference between evaporation and boiling. So this topic, we know that it's underwater and changes of its state. But what concept is this testing? Okay, Sari, next. Okay, we are testing on the processes involving the change in state of water. In this case, it's evaporation and boiling. Let's take a look at part B. Part B, the topic is still water and changes in state. Okay, we know that the difference between R and S is that one has hole, the other one does not. Okay, so Sari, next please. And the one without hole became wet. Okay, so remember to highlight and analyze and notate, right? Highlight, highlight. Okay, so we need to explain why the bananas in R became wet. Okay, so this one similarly is also about the processes involving the change in state. Okay, but in this question, it's no longer about evaporation and boiling. It's more about condensation. Okay, so Sari, press next, please. Okay, so we can go on to the breaking down of the question. Okay, so right now I'm going to revise on the concepts of the water and changes in its state. So first thing, the difference between evaporation and boiling, this question is like very common, okay? So evaporation usually occurs at any temperature. So what I usually tell my student is puddle of water. You will see it there, the next day it's dry already. Did boiling happen? No, it's evaporation. Because evaporation can take place at any temperature from 0 to 100 degrees Celsius. And for evaporation, it only occurs at the surface of the liquid. So I tell my students, you can think of liquid like kueh lapis. Okay, there are many, many layers. Okay, and evaporation only occurs at the very first layer. But boiling is different. Boiling occurs at a fixed temperature and only at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, and it will occur throughout the liquid. That means all the layers and not just the very first layer. Okay, now let's take a look at water and some other key terms that we need to know. Okay, Sari, please press next. Okay, so now let's take a look at evaporation and condensation. Okay, they are 2 different kind of processes, kind of opposite of each other. Okay, so when we talk about evaporation, the keywords that you need to know is water gains heat. Okay, it gains heat from where? Okay, when we talk about gaining heat and losing heat, we always need to talk about gain heat from where, lose heat to what. Okay, so it will gain heat from the sun or the warmer surrounding, and then it will evaporate into water vapor, which is the gaseous state. Condensation is the opposite. You need to tell us that the water vapor will lose heat to the cooler surface, and then it will condense into water droplets. Okay, so these are the keywords that you must write down to ensure your marks. Okay, let's go on to the answer to the part A, part B that we were looking at. Okay, so state a difference between evaporation and boiling. So some students will write this kind of answer. Okay, so Sari, next. Okay, some students will tell me evaporation occurs at any temperature, but boiling will occur throughout the liquid. Okay, do you think that this answer is acceptable? Okay, I give you all like 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, this answer is not acceptable. Okay, it's not acceptable. Why? Because I need to compare apple to apple. Okay, I cannot compare apple with lemon, right? So if I'm comparing about the temperature, I need to talk about temperature. So if evaporation occurs at a temperature below the boiling point, then I need to say that boiling occurs at the temperature only at boiling point, which is 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is acceptable. Alternatively, there's also another answer. Okay, so Sari, please press next. You can also say evaporation occurs at the surface of the liquid, while boiling will take place throughout the entire liquid. This is also acceptable because it's apple and apple, lemon and lemon, right? Okay. Okay, let's move on to this question. Okay, this question is very common, but usually they will change a bit of the scenario. Okay, but the way to tackle this kind of question is the same. Okay, so let's take a look at an example answer and see if it's acceptable. Okay, let's take a look at the example answer. So some students will just write a simple answer. Water vapor condense on the banana. Okay, this student understands the concept, but this student did not use keywords. So this answer is not acceptable. Okay, now let's take a look at what is an acceptable answer. Okay, so you can press next. Okay, so WCLCW. I'll show you what it is later. Let's look at the answer first. Okay, so let's compare. In box R, there is no hole. In box S, there's hole. Okay, so we need to say that box R does not have hole. That's why the warm water vapor will become trapped in the box. Okay, after that, when the bananas cool down, the warm water vapor will lose heat. Lose heat to what, right? Okay, let's go on. It will lose heat to the cooler surface of the box R and condense. Condense into what? Condense into water droplets that makes the banana wet. Okay, so what is WCLCW? Okay, so WCLCW is the warm water vapor comes into contact with the cooler inner surface. So there's the CR, cooler surface, loses heat, so that is the L, and condense, that's the C, into water droplet, that's the last W. Okay, so there are 2 ways to remember this acronym. Okay, so in my class, I tell my students, Wendy can love chocolate waffle. Yeah, and then teacher Sari, can you share with us another method to remember this?
Yes, me love chicken wings.
Yeah, so we also have Wildcat loves chicken wings. Okay, teacher Wendy also loves chicken wings. Okay. Okay, let's move on. So this is actually the end to our questions. Okay, Sari, can you press the next slide, please? Okay, so some students at this point of time might be a bit lost, don't know how to revise, don't know how to be even better in their science questions, right? Okay, so at BlueTree, we do have a keyword notebook. Oh, sorry, maybe you want to turn back. I think there are some parents who have not finished yet. Okay. So don't worry, you can also take a screenshot or take a picture. Okay, so as I was mentioning, BlueTree do have keywords. We call it My Keyword Passport. So it has all the topics by the level. And in each topic, there are the keywords that you need to use for the questions, okay? So let's take a look at our beautiful keywords book. Actually, the book is very concise, which is good for your revision. So what can you use this? How can you use this book? So just now, this was one of the questions we did, right? So what you can do is, get this, think about what topic is it under, go into our keywords book, search for the topic, then you will realize that, what are the key terms that I need to use in this question? What are the keywords? Okay, so if you take a look, we did use the keyword that is mentioned in our keywords book. Okay, so let's take a look at another question and see how we use this keyword book on another question. Okay, Sari, next one.
Okay, I would like to add on also. This keyword passport is very important. So for example, like this question, right? Students will every time say words, they do not know how to use the right keyword. For example, in this question, they will look, teachers are looking for the word transport. Okay, transport. But some students don't use transport. They say carry. They say lift. Although English in English language, it may sound correct, but we are talking about science. In science, every keyword actually describes more than just English itself. That is why we highly advise you to get this keyword passport, so that you will know exactly what are the teachers are looking for. How do they mark? What are the keywords they are looking for to give you the marks? This is very, very important. Yeah. Sorry, Teacher Wendy.
Okay, let's move on. So let's take a look at another example and see how we can use this keyword passport. Okay, so this is another question that we just went through, right? So in this question is relating to life cycle of plants. So you see the warm oxygen and warmth required for germination. It is also indicated inside our keyword book. Okay, so you can press next, Sari. Yeah, you can see. So how you can start to train up your skills in open-ended question is you can start with the keyword passport. So you look at the question, think about the topic, then you go to your keyword passport, then you flip. See what are the keywords that you need to use, and then you see what you can use to apply to that question. Okay? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so these are some testimonials on our teachers. So not just the science part, we also have the math department who have received many positive testimonials. Okay, so we can move on to the next page. Okay, so one thing I want to let all the parents and students here know is that learning should never stop. Okay, early preparation is key. So what Teacher Sari actually mentioned earlier on in the webinar is that don't do last minute work, right? Okay, so we should always keep consistent and constant revision. And it's always good to start early, right? Okay, so let's go on to the next slide. So basically, we have our holiday program, okay? Because October, there is PSLE marking days, which is actually the key revision period for the primary 5 students, okay? So we have our holiday program, which is the Marks Accelerator program. We call it as MAP. For students who are not from BlueTree, this might be new for you, okay? So this is open to public as well. So the public can join us in this program. So we do have many students with positive reviews about the holiday program. Many of our students get to improve their grades through the program, and they truly enjoyed the holiday program with us as well. Okay, so let's take a look. So for each subject, math and science, there will be 2 lessons each for P5. Okay, and for P5, it will be 2.5 hours long. Okay, so some parents and students might think that, wow, 2.5 hours, a bit long, huh? Okay, don't worry. Most of our students do give them breaks in between to ensure that they can continue to focus in class. Okay, and also there will definitely be quality teaching by our own BlueTree teachers. So the format of the MAP program is that we will focus on revision for the important topics as well as the concepts under the topics. And we will focus on a wide range of questions, not just the hard questions, but we'll also be touching on the easier questions to revise and to further firm up the students' foundation. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Okay, so during the MAP program, there will be worksheets and notes provided. So of course, it will be engaging and fun. There will be a lot of teacher-student interactions. We will teach you concepts that you have already learned. We will also expose you to new skills and concepts. So you get to learn something new as well. Okay, so let's move on.
I would like to add on also, right? For MAP, right? Okay, it's very important as well, okay? MAP is the key, I would say, program that we have in BlueTree, where students always come back and tell us that we spot questions for them. Because we actually come together as a whole team and create out the questions just to target revision for your child just before the exams. It's a revision program. So this is how important MAP is, right? That's why we just now were saying that we have 95% of the students actually improve their marks because we actually make sure that this whole program actually help your student or your child to answer these questions. That is how important MAP is. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at the next slide. So you'll see our students during the MAP class. You'll see that we use experiments and items to better enable our students to understand the questions. And you see that they also have fun. Okay, next slide. Okay, so for the usual MAP fees is $150 for each lesson. But, okay, so next slide. Okay, if you decide to take up the MAP program, there will be a discount for you. Discount, right? Okay, so if you have any questions, do feel free to contact us so that you can understand more about MAP program and you will think about whether you want to join or not, because it is a highly recommended programs for our own BlueTree students as well as the public. So it's like a last minute push, last leg to the end of year. Okay?
Yes, Wendy, remember the other time, the previous MAP program, right? Students were signing up a lot of students, right? Until we have no spaces anymore. So we highly advise students or parents to sign up. Besides, you sign up early, you have more discount as well. So just go ahead, why not? You know, these classes are really hot selling, just to say that. Not because we are just to sell, it's really a lot. So a lot of people are just rushing to get in, right?
We have quite a few students who also, from the public, they will always join us for the MAP program as well. Yeah. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so next I'm going to also introduce you to the P5 Masterclass. Okay, so I think there are one parent actually asked about the difference between MAP and Masterclass. Okay, so the difference between MAP and Masterclass is that for MAP, it is a revision intensive program. So we'll be focusing on firming up the foundation of your child, and it's 2.5 hours long. But for the masterclass, it is going to be a very quick-paced, challenging questions. Okay, so we will recommend this to students who have a good foundation in science or math, because this lesson is going to be a faster paced and more difficult questions. Okay, so I would say that MAP and masterclass both have its own benefits. So masterclass, it will help you to tackle the harder, more challenging questions to help you get an edge above the rest. while the MEP program is more about the revision and also the firming up those kind of common questions, like those common questions that you confirm can get correct. Yeah, so I think that is the main difference between these two. So if you'd like to sign up for either the masterclass or the MEP program, feel free to contact us. Okay, we welcome you. Okay, so these are our contact details. Okay, so you can reach out to us in our social media. So we also have discussion groups that many parents use. So when they face like difficult questions or like they don't know whether that keyword is correct or not, they will go into these discussion groups. So it's a good place for you to ask questions. There will be teachers answering. Sometimes even parents will also kind of give their comments and feedback as well. Okay, so that's all for our webinar. Okay, so those there are some parents and students who might have some questions regarding the discounts, okay, as well as the pricing and all that. Don't worry, our sales team will get back to you so that you can get a clearer picture of it. Okay. I think there's a participant that wanted to go to the first slide, right?
Yeah,
Just
which first slide are you looking?
Is it the first question? I think maybe you can turn to the first OEQ question.
Yeah.
Or the strategy one, the 4 strategies.
The 4 strategies. Oh, yeah. This?
Okay. So participants can continue to refer to this slide if you haven't copy finished. And then, yeah, so if you have any questions regarding the MEP program, masterclass, or even our regular classes, please feel free to reach out to our sales line, okay, which is already sent in the chat, or you can just drop us an email as well. Okay, any questions regarding discounts, our curriculum, or what branches we have and all that, you can always check out with them.
Can I show you the ABC technique? Can go back to water in 3 slides. Hold 3 states slide. Hold on. Right, got it right? Screenshot. Which one exactly? Number 3. This one? Or the last slide? This one? The answering one? This? This one, the where you compare apple and pear. You can ask us any questions right now. We are free to answer any Q&A. Yes, Shirley? I see you have raised your hand.
I think, Sari, later you can go to the slide with the Facebook. I think there's a participant that wants to look at the slide with Facebook also.
Okay.
Our Facebook account. So for your convenience, you all can also take a screenshot. And as mentioned in the chat, they will also send you the recording so that you can always refer back to it.
Lydia, you say it's a marketing program. Actually, there's a lot of jam in the question. The reason why it sounded like the marketing program, because honestly, we are pretty new to this webinar. So we will take your feedback and improve further. All right. Why when an egg is boiled, why will it turn into a solid, not liquid? Because you're cooking the egg. Sorry, you need to explain further what are you trying to ask in this question?
I think for the boiling of egg, what the egg is undergoing is a chemical change. So it is no longer a physical change. Physical change meaning a change of state from solid to liquid, liquid to gas, which is the process of gaining heat, right? But when we are talking about boiling an egg, it's about chemical change already. That's why it is no longer a liquid. It turns into a solid. So it's that is not really under primary syllabus lah.
That's why I was very confused. Must I mention there is evaporation first, then condensation? Do you mean for the wildcats love chicken wings question? Okay, so that's the thing here. For science, right, you cannot memorize the answers. You will never get the answer right. That is why we come up with this kind of acronyms, right? Or rather WCLCW, right? Because we want you to understand how to answer the question. If you really go and take a look at this question, right, itself, right? It says without holes in the lid, the warm water vapor was trapped inside the box R. If you take a look, right, it's actually step by step of how the warm water vapor actually work, or rather, it is the whole process from stage 1 all the way to stage Z. So you cannot memorize. Science is a subject where you need to visualize what is happening to the experiment. Yeah. So you cannot memorize, just to say. AV say, what are the P5 science teachers? For example, me, I'm one of the P5 science teachers here. I teach from primary to secondary science. So sorry for the Singlish previously, because I think I'm just pretty new in this webinar. Yeah. Teacher Wendy, what about you? For you yourself?
Sorry, I didn't manage to catch your question.
What subjects do you teach?
I teach P5, P3, P4, P5 science. P3, P4, P5, P6. Yeah, so mainly the primary sciences. So definitely we have other primary school science teachers as well. So no matter which teacher you are under, we are all experienced and most importantly, patient, as well as we are very willing to help the students lah. So if you are interested in our regular classes, you can always drop us a message to check, because you also need to check like which branch, which timing. So it's very hard for us to really tell you who are the teachers we have lah. Okay.
Okay, regarding a C, R, and ABC, right? You can technically say it's the same thing, but we always advise to use ABC because it's one of the most straightforward method to answer the question. Because usually students will forget about R. It's either they forget about the E or they forget about R. Whereas for ABC, right, you know what's so fantastic about ABC? I'm highly promoting ABC, like literally ABC. Why? Because, for example, okay, a question, you need to apply A, B, C, right? If let's say you never studied that science concept, but you just tell the teacher what you can see. You just tell the teacher what you can see from A and B, you already get that 1 mark. Whereas for C, R, right, sometimes you can't even get the mark. So we are equipping students or your children how to get the marks step by step. There's a layer of foundation. First is answer your choice. Then you tell teacher what you can see. Then you tell teacher what's the science concept to support what you can see. You see that? So that is why we always highly recommend ABC. It's the best technique out there. Mm. You can see all of our webinar, right? Science webinars, right? It's always emphasizing ABC. We don't go for CER. So one thing, like I mentioned again, is again and again, is like just telling teacher what you can see, what relevant information the question is telling you. You get the marks just by telling teacher what you can see. Is there any more questions?
I think, yeah, if there are any more questions, feel free to give us a message. Here we are open to answer.
Definitely it's better to attend in person, definitely for sure, because what is happening is that we need to see how you write your answers. Because sometimes students, it's not that they do not know the concept. Sometimes students do not know how to translate, from their brain, how they think of the concept and write it out. It's the expression of words in your answers. That's the difficult part about science. You may know, but do you know how to explain? Is another question.
Yeah, so during our physical class, it's much easier for the teachers to look at the answers and to pinpoint their weaknesses. But let's say if it is online class, then definitely there are ways to do it as well, but it will be more challenging.
And the fantastic thing is, if you have your own like work, right? If you have questions, you can just ask us. You see, you can just ask us any question. So, for example, previously, we have our WA, right? So, what happens is that students will bring their prelim or their WA test paper and bring it to us and ask us to go through with them, and we can actually pinpoint to them what are the keywords they need to add. How do they need to improve? Are they weak in expressing their answers? Or is it because they have not studied a certain science concept? Or is it the keywords they are lacking? Or is it they do not know how to explain to teacher what they can see? So that is the most important thing. Or maybe some students cannot visualize the science experiment. So that is where we have BlueTree, our famous experiment questions, where we show experiments to students. The whole real experiment in front of you, which you can never get it online. Any more questions? Because it's 8:32.
We will still stay on. So if you have any more questions, just keep it coming. Don't be afraid. We are here to answer any questions. Okay, so there are some participants, if you need to leave, you can leave off first. If there are anyone who needs to ask any questions, can always drop us a message.
Good, fantastic. As long as you have benefited from this session, great.
Yeah, we hope our students, whether is it the public students or the BlueTree students, benefit from this session, even though it's a short session. Okay?
Just remember to contact us anytime.
Thank you for attending the session as well. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
So cute. Bye-bye. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we will close off the webinar. Okay, so everyone, bye-bye. Have a pleasant night.